What does it mean to be a human being? Is it the body? Is it the face? Is it the eyes? Is it the brain? Is it something more eternal like the soul? What does it mean to be a human being on Earth? What have we human beings accomplished while being here on Earth? After human life on Earth ends, when we all gather at the awards party to hand out the honors for human achievements while on Earth, what will the final human legacy on Earth be? What do you think the winner will be? For some, there may be a notion that the human soul is all-knowing, but of course this is not true, and each and every expression spends eternity learning and exploring. While on Earth, it is hard for us to remember the galactic game we humans set up for ourselves to explore and play in. The Earth game itself is so engaging, we often fail to remember it is a wonderful subgame we are absorbed in. Earth's subgame is one of many we humans play, one with distinct experiential limitations as well as unique rewards. Once arriving within the Earth venue, we forget our eternal nature and play the games with complete commitment to both the rules and those involved. Spending time in a body, on Earth, is a temporary condition made possible by our ability to isolate ourselves from our true eternal creative nature. While in the physical state, we express ourselves using the reality we are able to access using the tools available to us. The limitations imposed on the human expression on Earth are rather severe, but we humans have gotten creative and expressed ourselves in a near infinite number of ways during our time on Earth. When the Earth game ends, which creative expression will be the final human legacy on Earth? Let's look at the nominees. The first nominee for the final human legacy is the killing. Several hundred million killed worldwide by war in the last 150 years alone. There is no way to accurately determine the number of humans killed by war in the last 5,000 years at all. The last 150 years has seen an estimated $100 trillion spent worldwide on building killing devices. The combined Earth energy and human energy expended to create these mostly unused tools of death is incalculable. All too often, the tools we spend so much energy on to build, we use on ourselves. The last 125 years alone has seen 2 world wars, Rwanda's genocide, Iraq twice, and both Stalin and Mao's reign of terror. These efforts not only killed millions of people, but destroyed so much of our beautiful human creations. In some cases, parts of Earth itself was destroyed. No matter what the reasons given by the war's initiators, recorded history shows an impressive amount of energy spent on killing each other, no matter what the means. While the numbers of dead are indeed staggering, and the energy usage devoted to killing each other incomprehensible, war is not the final legacy. War easily wins for most bewildering solution to complex problems. Arriving on Earth presents many challenges. Where to live is first and foremost. We humans have dwelled in the desert, underground, and even in the ocean. An area is selected and a city must arise by combining Earth's resources and the human energy systems. The combined Earth and human energy creates cities like Mexico City and Whittier, Alaska. In the last 5,000 years, the city has become the place of choice for most to live. Billions live contained, often trapped, in places we call cities. Each city has a vibration of its own, a feel, which reflects the nature of the inhabitants. The city congregates the energy of the human experience for good or ill. Cities support the dreams of many and hide the corruption of the few. Cities can feel like prisons or sanctuaries. They contain great beauty and often tragic blight. No matter the size, the organism of the city is the largest drain on human and earth energy there is or ever has been, as it is the complex confluence of energies that supports life, culture, infrastructure, and interaction in the city. A city is always on life support. Without the continued flow of energy from the humans and the earth, it dies, leaving monuments to what once was. Our energy systems are not without limitations. Our collective continued energy drain leaves us often ill, in conflict, and in despair. Paris, London, Machu Picchu, and Villa Las Estrellas are indeed remarkable, but they are not the final human legacy. Cities win for biggest collective energy drain. Space travel and space station visits might be considered for a fleeting second. The problem here is space exploration is not really a human achievement, inasmuch as it is the achievement of a few men and women. Very few have actually gone into lower orbit, and even fewer to the moon itself. In fact, the moon visitations proved to be so uninteresting, we quit bothering with it entirely nearly 40 years ago. Near-Earth space exploration has given us Tang, Tempur-Pedic mattresses, and endless speeches promising us the great new age. Space-related successes wins for most overrated TV-dependent achievement. Nationalism is a curious nominee and the most bothersome from Earth's perspective. The Earth is the whole expression, all 260 billion cubic miles. Earth has given us use of all there is to freely use and explore. Currently, Earth has 7 continents surrounded by water. Some folks have seen fit to divide these 7 land masses into completely arbitrary divisions called nations. Once the imaginary lines are drawn, they then claim ownership of all of the Earth that is contained within those boundaries. Then, in an extreme expression of arrogance, these thieves charge people for living within those boundaries. These planetary squatters take the form of kings or tyrants or sanctioned bureaucrats and drain the populace as a reward for their boundary-making efforts. Besides making traveling Earth now about negotiating national borders, these arbitrary divisions of land created nationalism, teams, which are used to create thoroughly artificial human division and thoroughly real war. While to carve up the one Earth into 196 arbitrary parts and instigate scarcity and conflict between the human beings residing in those regions is indeed obscene and surely criminal, this nominee does not win for the final human legacy. Ownership of Earth's free resources will win his most outrageous criminal act. 200 trillion in global debt spread out over just 3 billion workers. Only 5 trillion in banknotes in circulation. If all 5 trillion banknotes were returned today, how does the remaining 195 trillion in debt get paid off? Fiat currency only exists if it is borrowed from banks using real human and earth energy as collateral. Real assets in the form of human and earth energy are traded for bank-printed debt notes, or IOUs, which can only be borrowed at compound energy interest. Federal Reserve notes are not credits but IOU notes. You borrow IOUs, not credits, and IOUs cannot be used to pay off IOUs. Debt dollars are printed out of thin air based on your energy alone, but the interest owed is never printed. Where does the interest that must be paid off come from if more is owed than is printed? Where is that energy? Human and earth energy creation has positive value. Banknotes with compound interest applied have infinite negative value because the debt can never be fully satisfied. To trade real human and earth energy creation for something that has negative value, endless debt, seems unconscionable. To trade real human and earth energy creation for debt that can never be paid off is the height of madness. Money wins for, how is this even possible? Bureaucracy, the cataloging of everything. The amount of stored information in the form of files, ledgers, books, microfiche, film, magnetic tape, hard drives, and so on is beyond all comprehension. Governments are the biggest facilitators of the various cataloging systems, but banks, credit reporting agencies, doctors, and even employers are now in on the act. Archives, receipts, lists, accounting books, records, legal documents, secret files, and the NSA metadata storage systems. The human and earth energy consumed by this bottomless effort is staggering. Most of this information is never used, and when needed, often outdated and frequently outright wrong. It frustrates us all. Bureaucracy wins for biggest waste of time. All governments come to power through violence. As such, those placed in positions of control are violence first, consensus last controllers. Leaders in power exploit the desire of the majority to be free from the anxiety of self-determination. All governments work hard to disempower the populace in order to create a need for more government. Governments derive their power by putting half the population at odds with the other half. Creating divisions only government can solve through free will restriction. Governments solve these manufactured divisions by restricting free will through taxes, regulations, and force, all of which are calculated to keep the government in place. Governments at their finest do what is best for the largest group and do nothing for the individual and their personal growth process. At their worst, governments do what is best for the few and nothing for the majority. Government has the distinction of being the only business where personal incompetence, zero qualifications, and abject failure are rewarded with upward mobility and power by those really in charge. How have so few deplorable individuals been in charge of so many people? Why have so many people allowed these individuals to control them? Government wins for nothing. Government gets shut out. The religious institutions as a system of control and the focus of so much human and earth energy are quite remarkable. Since anyone can start a religion based on the flimsiest of foundational principles, and of course no one religion can be seen as better than another, all 4,300 must be seen as one. As a nominee, religions are particularly problematic because the intention is so unclear. Were they created by a few to control the masses through spiritual threats, economic subjugation, and the control of information? Or were they created to help people learn how not to fight each other, judge each other, and help humanity explore their free will nature? All religions claim to be about peace and acceptance, yet all have distinct systems of worship and monetary policies that actively segregate. In fact, most wear symbols that are clearly meant to create division by identifying those in the club and those outside it. As a unifying force, religions fail entirely. Religions effectively prey on the insecurity of the unknown spiritual nature of what is not physically present here on earth. As a force for relinquishment of free will, through ritual and deference to invisible forces, religious orders have been extremely successful. The current estimate of 4,300 religions tells us that humans give their free will, and in exchange they belong to a system that seeks to divide them into at least 4,300 separate groups. Religion wins for most effective confiscation of free will through division. Our remarkable ability to create waste would surely be a nominee from the modern green folks. There is trash on land, in the oceans, and even in space. Our ceaseless waste comes from our never-ending need to fuel the energy of cities and war. Nuclear weapon creation has introduced near-eternal radioactive poison fountains at Chernobyl and Fukushima, and deposited countless piles of radioactive death all over Earth. We have indeed made a mess. To be fair, the humans are simply using the creation ingredients provided by Earth itself, and the waste is born of Earth's resources as well. Finally, it seems a shame to judge the virtues of a party by the mess left over. Trash wins for biggest slight to a gracious host. The current state of technology is such that this is what we think of when we think of it. The less said of this, the better. Technological expressions of human and earth energy is largely built on a cycle of hype, use, and abandon. By its very nature, technology is a future daydream-based system. As such, technology is really a nominee rooted in the future. A careful examination of the current state of technology using human and earth energy creation as a means to an end, the future, suggests the end is the birth of an artificial intelligence system. Many see this as the supreme goal of human energy creation. The moment where humans are made redundant by machine will be the final human legacy for some humans. The problem with future AI consumer products as the human legacy is the AI will fail to live up to the hype because it can never be contextually self-reflective or express energy creation through free will. That, and it cannot live without a power source. So the technology dream will fail to live up to the hype once again. Technology wins for best sales scheme based on endless promises. Some will say, what about the love? What about the compassion and the friendship? Our humanity, that must be the final human legacy. Human higher selves, within their inherent eternal nature, are loving, caring, compassionate, free will beings. The fact that we can effectively pretend to be violent, uncaring, judgmental beasts while on Earth is the real legacy in that equation. Pretending to be selfish, petty, and at times vicious is not only remarkable, but needed in order to experience the rich vibrational expressions that is our galactic polarity game. Without hatred, love has no meaning. Without anger, compassion has no meaning. This is the polarity-based game we play, and each side must be played by a human for true understanding, no matter how horrid the expression seems. To deny our true selves, even for a few moments, let alone a physical lifetime, is the real achievement here. Love and understanding win, for the aspect of true self most successfully denied. One very clear pattern has emerged with our nominees. If we take money, government, cities, war, bureaucracy, and religion, we see the main tools needed to create comprehensive human and earth enslavement. Our educational system has us believing we know what enslavement is and looks like, but clearly the never-ending personal debt enslaves us. The government enslaves us by insisting the average U.S. citizen spend the first 6 months of the year paying off the debt owed to and by the government. The threat of death by bomb keeps us enslaved to whoever says they'll keep us safe, or by those who have actually bombed us. Religion keeps us enslaved in the present by instilling insecurity concerning the future and selling salvation for the afterlife. We are slaves to our lifestyles, both rich and poor alike. We are enslaved by any and all standards of measure. This nominee is the best so far, but it falls short because human beings, as well as Earth, are free will beings. This tiny but infinitely important fact means we are choosing to be enslaved. The fact that we, eternal free will beings, are free to shed the shackles at any time simply by accessing our eternal free will energy means this cannot be the final human legacy. Enslavement wins for most perplexing free will expression. The eternal human being's entire existence is about manifestation of our free will energy as seen through our choices. The final human legacy cannot be separated from this fundamental truth. The key to the final human legacy is that the legacy must be determined without the aid of culturally suffocating judgment. Only by letting all the judgment go can we see the real legacy of our choices. We humans, using Earth's energy as well as our own, are doing something extraordinary within the expressions of our earlier nominees and beyond. Earth has given us the most rudimentary tools: rocks, minerals, water. Only 118 elements to work with, and we've created everything from stained glass to satellites using those raw ingredients. Look at all we humans have created with just 118 basic elements to work with. And from those raw ingredient creations, we created countless ways to interact with each other and Earth itself. The final human legacy can be seen all around us. The only possible champion is right there to be seen by all, but we must abandon the judgment to truly feel the beauty of it. The realm of human creativity is where we look for our winner. The final human legacy is our creative expression in all things human. Human being creative energy expression wins for the final human legacy. The entire world is a museum dedicated to our creative energy expression. The reason we travel is to see what other human beings have done by combining their creative energy with Earth's creative energy. You can travel to see what has been done, or you can just look around you. Everywhere you look, creative human expression is there for you to see, feel, hear, taste, and smell. Music, art, buildings, clothing, and food are just a few of the ways we use our energies to express ourselves. We express our creative energy through our jobs, our interactions, our choice of words. We express our creative energy in the garden, with our children, and with our friends. Humans have taken 7 basic whole musical notes and created countless songs, compositions, and musical expressions, as well as countless ways to enjoy those musical expressions. Humans have taken Earth's basics and built magnificent homes, workplaces, and play places for all to experience. Humans have created war, the tools for war, as well as the means to rebuild after war. Humans have created ways to hurt each other and ways to heal each other. Humans have assembled countless words, creating countless books enjoyed by countless people, as well as the places to create the books, sell the books, and share the books. Humans have created countless forms of personal interaction, many needing nothing more than a bench created by a human, some requiring so much more human creative energy input. Every day humans create laughter and crying and even indifference. Food. Look at what we humans do with a few basic ingredients that we have grown, distributed, and cooked. Look at the ways we enjoy food. Look at all we have made, from cars, to bridges, to buildings, to clothing, and so many other things to help us survive, entertain ourselves, and learn with. We have created fireworks and baby pacifiers. We have created a seemingly endless world of entertainment, from movies and television shows to YouTube clips. We create notes that only one other will see, and murals for us all to see. We create and create and create. Human creation of anything on Earth requires us all. No painting, or house, or airplane could exist were it not for all our creative energies combining with Earth's creative energies to form the remarkably diverse world we live in. Every person on Earth is as valuable as the next when it comes to our collective and individual creative expression. Every human contribution gives one and all countless new and interesting ways to explore themselves. The final human legacy is a celebration of our free will, our combined brilliance of energy expression that can be seen everywhere we look. Whenever you see, hear, smell, taste, or feel something, remember it was the free will energy of the entire human population combined with Earth's that made that experience possible. Remove the judgment and enjoy what we have done as you make your way through our world.